People ask why I hated Reggie Miller. Here's your answer.
Let's rewind to one of basketball's coldest rivalries. Michael Jordan versus Reggie Miller. On paper, it was GOAT versus sharpshooter, but underneath, it was ego versus audacity. What began as rookie trash talk in a meaningless exhibition game exploded into over a decade of psychological warfare. Jordan, the ultimate alpha who demanded respect. Miller, the mouthy underdog who refused to give it. Every matchup was a courtroom drama. One man fighting to defend his legacy, the other daring to challenge it. By the end, it wasn't about wins or stats. It was about pride, fury, and a grudge that never truly died.
Like, you're right, Michael. Who do you think you are? The great Michael Jordan? That's right. There's a new kid on town, right?
And that's where it all started. One smart-mouthed rookie poking the god of basketball and paying the price instantly. Jordan didn't lecture. He didn't warn. He just obliterated. 40 points later, Miller learned the first rule of the NBA jungle. Never talk trash to a legend having a slow night. But the damage was done. Jordan never forgot that rookie. He filed the insult away like evidence, a reminder that Reggie Miller had crossed a sacred line. For MJ, that wasn't just a game. It was a court ruling. Disrespect carries consequences, and the judge's name is Michael Jordan.
1 on 2, 1 on 3, couldn't get it, and put back, no, it did fall. Now Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller having a go at it. And I mean, we get fist throwing, here come the benches.
Fast forward 6 years, and the tension that started in that preseason game finally explodes. Jordan's Bulls are chasing a three-peat. Reggie's Pacers are rising, and every bump, every word, feels like a spark. When that fight broke out in '93, it wasn't just two players swinging fists. It was 6 years of resentment bursting open. Jordan saw a man who never learned his place. Reggie saw a man who couldn't handle being challenged. And in the middle of that chaos, the crowd realized this wasn't basketball beef. This was personal.
2.9 seconds. Harper's on Miller. McKee gets it in the middle for the win.
The 1993 fight set the tone for everything that followed. From that point on, every Bulls Pacers matchup carried the tension of a courtroom rematch. By 1998, both men were veterans, but the animosity still fresh. This time, the stakes were legendary. Jordan's last dance, the Bulls' 6th title, and Reggie's last chance to dethrone the king. You could almost hear the soundtrack. One last witness, one last testimony. For Reggie Miller, this was his shot at rewriting the verdict from 1987. Curly Bone, and then came that moment.
On the drive, in from the left, gets chased into the corner, comes right back. Through the foul!
Seconds left. Reggie Miller versus Michael Jordan. Most players crumble under that kind of pressure. Not Reggie. That shove wasn't just a basketball move. It was a statement. The underdog literally pushed a basketball god aside and hit the biggest shot of his life. It was sacrilege and brilliance. The crowd lost its mind, and for one split second, it looked like Miller had dethroned Olympus itself. No said.
Jordan putting the move on Porter, stopped by Drexler.
Just chaos. And Jordan, fuming, realized this pest wasn't going away quietly. Kalip Nam. Jordan admitting the Pacers were his toughest Eastern rival wasn't just a compliment. It was a confession. The bad boy Pistons broke his body, but Reggie Miller? He got inside his head. Indiana wasn't scared, and Miller's defiance became the soul of that team. Every Pacers matchup was like defending his throne from a jester who wouldn't stop mocking him. And deep down, MJ hated that. He'd rather lose to a warrior like Ewing than be tested by a smirking sharpshooter who wouldn't bow. Here's the wild part. Every great player Jordan battled earned a piece of his respect. Barkley, Ewing, Drexler, even Isaiah Thomas. They pushed him, but they didn't provoke him. Reggie was different. He didn't care about being great. He cared about getting under Jordan's skin. It wasn't competition, it was psychological warfare. He didn't need to beat MJ in the finals. All he wanted was to make him lose his cool. And when you think about it, that's what makes this rivalry timeless. The best player in history, visibly rattled by the league's biggest troll.
I don't want people to think that it was some big rivalry, because a rivalry to me is we are on equal footing. I was never on equal footing with MJ, okay? But I loved the battles. And I know a lot of players that I played against, they would bow down to him. And that just was not going to be me. It was not in my nature to do that. So maybe I was hard-headed.
That quote still shocks people. Not because of the language, but because of the emotion. Jordan didn't just dislike Reggie Miller. He despised him. The flopping, the flailing, the constant chatter. It went against everything MJ stood for. He saw himself as the enforcer of basketball's purity. Miller represented everything chaotic about it. But that's the irony. Reggie's antics forced the perfectionist to lose control. And maybe that's why MJ could never shake the irritation. Every time he saw Miller, he was reminded that even gods can get dragged into the mud.
It brought back a lot of those good and bad memories of going against that dude.
Were you interviewed for this?
Again, reluctantly, yes. I tried to fight it. I actually did. I didn't want to do it.
You know that Michael had to approve everybody.
When Reggie admits he wasn't Jordan's equal, but still refused to bow, that's the mic drop moment of his career. It's self-awareness and defiance all at once. He wasn't trying to outshine Jordan. He was trying to prove that greatness didn't require submission. And in doing so, he earned something better than respect: immortality. Every era has its rebel. And for the Jordan era, that rebel wore number 31. He never won a ring, but he won something far rarer: a permanent spot in.
Curry had a notion there to Barnes. Green and James jawing at each other while play continues. Iguodala the pull-up. That won't go.
And that's how one of the fiercest rivalries in basketball history came full circle. Michael Jordan, the ultimate symbol of dominance, and Reggie Miller, the fearless agitator who refused to kneel. It wasn't about rings, stats, or MVPs. It was about pride, defiance, and two men fighting to define their place in basketball's courtroom of legends. What makes this story timeless isn't who scored more. It's the psychology behind every glare, every shove, every word exchanged in those pressure-cooked moments. Reggie Miller showed that courage isn't about winning. It's about standing tall in the face of greatness. And Jordan? He proved that even legends feel the heat when someone dares to challenge their throne. So now it's your turn. What's your verdict? Was Reggie Miller a fearless underdog or a reckless provocateur? Drop your thoughts below. We read every comment. And if this showdown gave you chills like it did us, hit that like button, share it with your fellow hoop fans, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic, true story breakdowns from the court, where drama, rivalry, and legacy collide.